I did some recording with my friend Bruno, because we went to school together, you know. So when
am I to assume Bruno as in Bruno Mars?
Yes, yeah, Bruno Mars.
You're like, oh yeah, you know.
I'm like, you know, Bruno. Yeah.
So the way we first met was through when you were still in high school, I believe, right? And you were in performing arts in the theater scene, and I was hearing about this great child prodigy and how amazingly talented she was and stuff. Was that always your dream growing up to become a performer?
You know, I've always had a love for it. I always just thought it was so fun, and it came pretty natural for me. You know, I would just like get up on stage and like be a ham. Or, you know, like ever since I was a kid, even before I was performing, I was just kind of a ham, and I was kind of outgoing as a child. And I just did it because I loved it. And, you know, I truly didn't have a dream to become a performer. I truly didn't say like, I'm gonna be on Broadway. I just didn't. Yeah. I just didn't, you know.
What did you think you wanted to do when you were growing up?
I did not know.
Oh, okay.
I did not know. I was just one of those people who just was like, I'm just gonna like go with it and like see how it goes, and like, oh, I'm in a show. This is cool. I'll do this for a while. I'll do another show, and that's kind of how it is as a working artist. Like you just like move from contract to contract, and like you live wherever the contract takes you. And you sit under that for a year, and you're like, this is great. And then you start to think about what you're gonna do like a month before the contract ends, and then you kind of like hustle for that. So that's kind of how I did it, and it worked for a while. Yeah, it worked for a long time, but I mainly did it because I just loved it. I loved being on stage, and I thought it was so fun. I'm like, what better job could I have?
So how did you even get introduced to that lifestyle? Was it that your parents signed you up for a play or something, or you saw something, you're like, I want to try that?
You know, I started off with dancing. So my mom owned Step It Up Hawaiʻi, which was the only dance supply store on the island at the time. And I must have been like 6 or something. And she would go to all of the dance recitals. You know, she'd get invited. So I remember going to a drill team Hawaiʻi dance recital. And I saw the girls, and they had their hair up in curls, and they had their lipstick on. They had like tights, they had a costume, and they were like shaking their butt on stage. And I saw that, and I was like, oh, I want to do that.
What was the process for you? Was it you went to college for performing arts, or what did you do out of high school?
So I left, and then I went to study music at Azusa Pacific University. They gave me a vocal scholarship. And at the time, I didn't want to learn music at all, you know? And I'm like, I've never studied music. I only sing at church, and that's cool with me, you know? But at the time, they're like, oh, she's Asian. Oh, we can use some diversity. I like guarantee that's probably it. But anyway, they're like, oh, like she's a great singer, and we could use her in our jazz band. So, and I've never sang jazz in my life, but they wanted me to sing in their jazz band. So when I went off to college, I studied music by default, you know, and that didn't last very long. Like I was there for like 1.5 years, and I was like, I don't think this is my thing, you know? Yeah. So I came back home to Hawaii. I had like a semester to just kind of like figure out my life and have odd jobs. And then I decided, you know what, I want to go back to California. So I just went back to California and went to PCC. I went to Pasadena City College. Yeah. And after that, I just like worked.
Was it working in performing arts kind of thing?
No, I just had like restaurant jobs. Yeah, I did some recording with my friend Bruno, because we went to school together, you know. So when
am I to assume Bruno as in Bruno Mars?
Yes, yeah, Bruno Mars.
You're like, oh yeah, you know.
I'm Bruno. Like, you know, Bruno. Yeah. First name basis. Yeah, no need to say Mars. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just gonna assume. But yeah.
But
That's incredible.
We became good friends in high school, and we sang together a lot in high school. And while I was in college, he was in LA, and he was writing music, and he was just starting the thing. So he had me do some recordings with him, like how they would record demos to send out to artists.
Okay.
So I did some of that with him for Atlantic Records. And then when he got offered to perform live and do his own thing. And he said, Chris, he's like, I want a girl in the band, like the Black Eyed Peas, you know? He's like, I want you to be the girl. So I said, okay, yeah. Like, I'd love it. So I started singing with him very briefly. And we just performed a couple, like I was at his very first show at Temple Bar in Santa Monica. That's where we performed. And his sister Jamie was our manager. His brother, who's still the drummer, he was there. And Philip Lawrence, who was his co-songwriter, was there, you know. So a lot of, I was there for the first bits of it.
So do you remember like how big the crowd was?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think my cousin and my brother came because they were just in California at the time. I think they paid like $10. They paid $10 at the door. It was like a small bar. It was packed. But it was just a dive. Yeah. It was still a dive bar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great stories of like the humble beginnings, right? Like
yeah.
The first time.
Exactly.
So how come it didn't go very much further than that for you? Did you have other things going on?
No, I mean, like, you know, I honestly think that God had a different plan for me. I don't think that was the thing for me at the time. I think I was too young, a little too dumb, you know. But at the time, I had a boyfriend that was extremely jealous and toxic, and he made me quit. You know, he made me quit the band. Yeah. And at the time, because I was too naive and not knowing any better, I said, okay, you know? I said, you know what? Like, I'm like, Peter and I are friends. Like, he'll understand. We'll always be friends. It's cool. Yeah. You know, but right after I left, he blew up. And I don't know. But you know what? He has his own thing going on with like the all-boy band, and that's his look. Yeah. And that's meant to be him.
Everything worked out the way it was supposed to, I'm sure, for him.
Yeah. And God was like, I think this is a little too soon for you. Yeah.
Yeah, because could you imagine being in that kind of environment?
Oh, I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't ready. I was way too naive. Yeah, it was fun, you know, but I think I would have made some poor choices. Yeah.
What did you learn, though, from that experience of being, you know, in that situation, in that relationship where you kind of made decisions that maybe might, in hindsight, it was best for you, but at the time, it probably, if I was watching, I'd be like, that's a terrible idea. Why would you listen to that? Yeah, so what did you learn from about yourself, I guess, from that type of experience?
I learned, it made me grow up really quick. Like, I grew up and I was like hit with like a fat dose of reality of like, Chrissy, you can't just like think that everyone is nice. You know, like growing up in Hawaii, everybody was nice and you can trust a lot of people, you know, like and then that hit me in like the face with like, oh, like I could not trust this person, you know. It showed me what a narcissist was. Everyone who I met after that, I was a lot more careful. I was less trusting. I was not jaded, you know, but I tried to be just more careful. Yeah.